hello and welcome. The wait is over, and it's a new season. Welcome along to round one here in the Kingdom of Bahrain for the Power F1. 495 pylons and 5,000 spotlights illuminate this circuit. And quickly, what a Bahrain International Circuit, of course, has about 5.5 kilometers, and that's about 3.3 miles. Plenty of turning, 14 or so. And Charles Leclerc, of course, took the Ferrari message time with his victory. Sergio Perez became the first driver to ever from a last to the end of the first. The last great. That's the track, really rusty. Sorry, apologies. We are back, of course, to 15 of those turns. Plenty of DRS overtaking opportunities, and it always produces tons of action here at Power F1. Tyres, well, you're going to be using those tyres in a minute, but they're all going to be dry. The weather forecast that I am having is that everything is dry. So get ready to go on the track for our full qualifying session. I am Nadine Biggles, and joining me in the custody booth this evening will be Mr. Bill. Bill Water.
How are we today?
How you going, Bill? Yep. You there?
I certainly hope so.
Sorry, there is a massively noisy truck that just scooted on by as we were speaking.
Oh, my.
And very noisy here where I am, and not the Kingdom of Panama, but the Republic of Panama. But let's go trackside. Welcome, everybody, as well out there in the chat. We'll see if you can get a reading that chat there. But Bill, yeah, actually, well, just before we go down to the trackside, we'll go over that calendar real quick, because this is our first race of the season here in Bahrain. And we've got Spain, Azerbaijan, Canada, the UK, Italia, Belgium, Austria, Singapore, Mexico, Coda, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi to wrap it out. Pretty similar to a Formula One calendar, of course, just a lot less circuits as everybody gets pretty busy in this with their regular lives, and our driver lineup should be similar to this evening. I think there's just one or two drivers that may be missing at the moment, but there is your drive up. Some familiar faces from the past and some new faces to come to battle their way around the arena. Here this evening, we'll go to the live game at the moment as they're doing their way for their full qualifying session. This is Q1. Couple of times on the board already. There, Bill.
Oh, my turn. All right. Yeah, looks like we've got a full qualifying session. So we're going to cut down to 15 after this timer is up here. We've got a 1:28.7 so far from Cameron Cyril as our time to beat. Although, we got a little yellow action here in Sector 3. One of the, what looked like a Aston Martin going slow through that section.
Yeah, he just passed it right there, the Red Bull. You will start seeing a lot of those yellows as well that comes up on the track map. A lot of the time, it's just because the cars are actually trying to get out of the way too of some of the drivers on the flying laps. Hopefully, 90% of the time, that's what they're doing. They're on inters. So we're talking about that rain before that, Bill. So I kind of think they're not going to be getting any. They do that a little bit of an inter thing. It's just something that the drivers do. I get a lot of immersion blurries are pushing that Red Bull back into the car. I've tried a billion, zillion, trillion different settings.
I am surprised anyone would go out on the intermediates.
They do it for a bit of fun, mate.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Lay some rubber down on the track. And on top of it, you're not using tires as well. You're not wasting up a set of tires just to get some temperature down in there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hey, Riggedy in the chat there. And Rifler needs an invite. Sorry, I just saw you join there, Rifler, so thank you very much for that. I just read your message a little late. I saw that you just joined, so it'll be the 19th car joining us.
Hopefully our 19th entry can get out onto the track.
Yeah, since I'm showing up in the game. Ooh, I need to leave. No, I'm not racing. I'm in spectator mode.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a preseason, as it were, for us here in the commentary booth. No practice. We just kind of go live and go for it. Yeah. So there might be a little bit of, shall we say, rust that we need to shake off, and hopefully the qualifying sessions here will help us get things straightened out. So once the race gets going, we will be in full season form here.
Yeah,
between the two
we
of
got to
us.
shake off that rusty, as you mentioned there as well. See, my voice is getting a little bit croaky. I'm shaking that off. Just let us know out there, please, everybody, if the levels are good. This is a new scene that I set up there for the OBS, so haven't tweaked it because it's the first race that we have of the season. So hopefully it does sound okay. The game audio will probably maybe get a little bit loud sometimes when you're on board the cars. Some of the cars are a little louder than others, but I think it might be okay looking at levels, but just let us know, please.
Yeah, having that feedback from the viewers is definitely going to help improve the overall product, shall we say.
Yeah, I'm just setting up, just reading some of the chats. Apologies. When you click away from this game, it pauses the menu automatically for you. Nothing you can do about it. But it's okay, because we're in the early stages of this qualifying session. So there's still plenty of time, 8 minutes to go, just as the Q1, of course. So you're going to eliminate 4 of those drivers currently at the moment that will be sitting on the bubble.
Yeah, it's quite all right. You know, getting everything set up is half the battle here. It looks like we have all but one driver out on the track right now. So it looks like we're going to see some times being set. We'll see if that 128.7 can hold up. Oh boy, we got another yellow out in Sector 1. So right near the start-finish line is... Oh.
Yeah, I think that was just somebody once again getting out of the way for a flying lap. So that they're, and I was also timing a little bit of spacing. We're on board the Ferrari driver at the moment. That is on a flying lap. I believe the first and second sector. That's magnetic. You know that when we're gonna have. Oh, I know I'm for a fact I'm the biggest butcher of names. I'm gonna have a problem with some of these names out there for sure. But let's not worry about that for now. The Ferrari's about to cross the line and set the first time for Magnet, and there it is. It goes up at 1.5 seconds off it. Bradley at the moment going back into Bradley's one of our very, very quick drivers at Power F1. He's been around for some time. So that's purple sector 1, 28.5. It's easy to invalidate around this track too, so touch wood. I'm not going to throw off Bradley as he's invalidated. He sets the fastest second sector. First sector's been replaced by one of the McLaren drivers, but once again, this is just to make sure you get yourself into the next part of qualifying, so you don't have to be necessarily setting the absolute quickest time on the planet.
I believe, if I recall correctly, the top 15 go through to Q2, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I will just lower the game audio. Thank you very much for that out there, as Jake said. But yeah, it's not that loud. I can't do anything about the difference between how loud it is on board and external. But should be okay.
Well, as you said, Bradley going 128.4, so a new time atop the leaderboard for us here. As you say, not really the most important of things to be number one in Q1. Basically, you just want to survive. Oh, and it looks like somebody came across the line 44 hundredths of a second behind, so we should see some pretty tight competition here.
Yeah, that was a very close invalidation lap as I was just looking at the Alfa Romeo there letting the teammate through. Maybe some of the teams will be looking at trying to get a bit of a tow from each other. That can occur sometimes.
Well, I think that's exactly what's happening here is we see the tow. Now we're going to pull out and get a nice little pass going on and send them on their way.
Yep. If your teammate goes spinning off like that, you're not going to get too much of a tow. Cold tyres, perhaps. We'll go over to Jacob. P12. 13, actually. Jacob is now. Let's wait for that telemetry. He's at the fastest middle sector. Fastest first sector has been replaced by Percy. There's Jacob going up top of the timesheet, so quite got that purple sector set right for him. I wouldn't be surprised going down here to... Is it Percy? Shout out to Percy. He's got a quick first sector. Second sector is not bad at all. About 3/10 off Jacobs. So it's really going to make it up for third sector. But get inside that 1 second club, mate. I think it's all you need, really, from the fastest lap. Goes up in a P4. Yeah. So the 128.1 all the way down to where Shadow is. 1 second away from that. I'd say you'll be okay if you can get inside of that. Outside of that, you're probably maybe in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, we have our 16th place, first on the bubble right now. A little bit behind. I believe that may have been the Aston Martin that we saw do a little bit of spin me right round, baby right round. With,
like a roller coaster?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's, well, I mean, these are the drivers yet to set a time, currently at the moment that we're watching the Aston Martin. So I'm pretty sure Brizzen knows that he needs to set a time, as well as Lewis in P19. We know that Carlos has to set a better time, because that's not a competitive lap there. 15 seconds off, probably had a bit of a spin. They are back out, they are right on track, so.
Well, it looks like we've got
a very good time there too for Briz. It's 14 seconds off the pace, so this is going to be his full lap. I would imagine we'll go on board and see if he's using any of his DRS now. Yes, he is. DRS. Battery management.
Well, let's see what happens. You know, you're going to go in the pits. You're going to probably try to come out. If you're going to have a second go of things, you're going to have to look at coming out around 2:45, I believe, if you want to try to avoid that last second mess. It's going to take probably 1:45 to really bring it down to about crossing the line within the last 5-10 seconds of the qualifying session to get that last flying lap in. So I think that'll be the window where we start to see the flurry of activity, and we'll see a lot of outlaps instead of those pits showing up on the scoreboard right now.
Yeah, some of the drivers have improved, as you can see. And this is the one man that needs to. Yeah, you can see some of those cars sitting in the pits. So I think, once again, I think if you're in the top 10, sorry, in the top 1 second, and Brizzy goes up into P15, that's definitely going to be on the bubble. And has he got time to jump back in and come back out? He might not, as you mentioned there before.
There keep being these the yellows showing up. 2 minutes is not enough time to go back into the pits, so
no,
he'll be able to get another go. Just kind of recompose yourself, take a run around the track.
It's got no battery, but that's the problem, mate. See, you got to charge up that battery because you really do need it here in Bahrain in the straights and to use it out of the corners. And he hasn't got any left, and you need a lap or so to recharge it. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the time. And maybe he's actually
2
deploying
minutes
it.
will get him around the track.
He's deploying it, so he's not turned it off. He's using it
Oh,
consistently.
no.
So you'd have to turn it off and go for another lap. But also the tyres at that point might be a little bit cooked. We'll see. You can remember it's only get into the top 15, but he's out on the track, and these are the drivers that are on the bubble right now. You can see the house drivers essentially trying to warm up the tyres as weaving onto the straight, but he's on a flying lap.
Might have just got himself a little squabbly coming out of the turn there.
Down to start a lap.
So we're down to about the last minute. It looks like a couple people may have resigned themselves to their fate. It's going to be too late for somebody like Wilkes, who is in 17th right now, to get back out onto the track. So,
yep. You're right. Maybe Wilkes doesn't feel that he's got enough pace to get inside that top 1 second marker, I would say. So you never know. And well, it's future, isn't it? In P14, that probably is gambling on the fact that these drivers here don't push them down. Everybody else is in the box at the top of the timesheets, as you can see right there. They're not worried too much. Saving some tyres and saving the possibility of DNFing and stuff like that too, because they know that they'll be through. And these are the drivers right here. And this driver in particular that wants to improve.
Well, here we go. This is our last shot of things. We see the checkered flags being waved for those not out on the track and engaging in a flying lap. We have Phoenix in 8th looking to improve on their time. Rifler, Shadow.
Oh, he goes P13 for the Haas. What about, who else? P17, go to DT Spy. Is it Dirty Spy? I'm not quite sure.
I think that looks close enough to Dirty Spy to me, so we'll go with Dirty Spy.
Dirty Spy's the only one now. Magnetic is on, Magnetic is on a flyer too. So they're the only two drivers right now that can push Future into the past, perhaps. There he is. So Dirty Spy goes up there, does push Future out. What about Magnetic? His names, I'll tell you. They really get to you. He's the only one left that can now. If you're Luke Locklear, you're on the bubble right now. Luke's in the garage watching this, whether he will be taking the next part of qualifying or not, depending on this Ferrari right now and what it can do.
Yeah, we will see. Where are we at here? Oh yeah, we're coming into it. So
he's abandoned. He's gone straight to the box. No, he's tricked. He's tricked. But it's not going to be enough time anyway. 19th. I've never seen that before. It's always something new in Formula 1 that you get. But there it is. So you got Jacob at the moment setting the fastest time. But that's just to get through. The usual suspects are up there doing a pretty good job. But unfortunately, they're the four. That will not be Future, Briz, Wilkes, and a Magnetic. Oh, Magnetic. I just like to call it Magnetic. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Just what is that? Maybe a little over 100th of a second between 15th and 16th.
Yep.
To make it through into Q2. Wow. That is close.
This is the Power F1, my friend. This is the top dogs for the series. So you'll expect to see closer and closer times on those sheets, especially if you start narrowing it down into the top 10 shootout. That's when they're going to really push it, and you probably start to see temps, like barely temps between the drivers, and you start getting esports pace at that point where, they're compared to esports is practically like watching AI drivers driving around a track. They're that close together, and they're that equally performance, like the level of performance together is just milliseconds between them. So that's why I always say it's like watching an AI at 200% level race. But of course they are just that good, so can't blame them. But the job that they're doing, just looking at the tires, I hadn't really gone to the tires before because it was all softs that everybody was using the previous round. You can see at the moment something sitting in the garage. Well, they use Inters too at the start. But whether or not anybody's going to gamble, you really can't in this 2022 model now. You can't really... Nobody uses the medium tires very often, if at all. Because qualifying, you want to be on the best tire.
Luke Locklear.
Well, he's coming out on them, yeah.
Looks like we have an outlap on medium, so we'll see a bit of a gamble. I personally was going to try to bring it up as to if you try to risk the medium tire, survive Q2, and start on that medium tire, go a little bit further into the race than what you're going to get out of the softs, which is probably 10 to 12 laps, if memory serves me correctly.
Well, I don't know if they changed it for this year, obviously last year, this one, 2022. But they changed it so you don't have to start on the tire anymore. So it used to be you had to start on whatever the fastest time you set on qualifying, but they changed it because Formula 1 changed that rule, and now you can start on any tire you want, and they're basically brand new. Most of the time, they're basically brand new. So if you want to start on hards, they can, and drivers will probably most likely in this race start on the mediums and hards. They won't touch the softs very often, unless there's safety cars or damage.
They'll burn up way too quick.
Yeah, they do.
On a track like this.
But it's unfortunate, mate, because I did like, and if you guys in the chat, I did like the previous system because of the fact that now in qualifying that you watch in the esports, they just all use the soft tires. Really, they don't barely even touch the other tires because the other tires are slower. And now, because they don't have to start on these tires, remember, they don't have to start on these softs. It doesn't matter how much they burn through them. So I do kind of miss it because it did shake the strategies around last year in the game. Having to start, if you burn through your soft tires, then you probably only got a couple of laps on them to start the race on, So a lot of drivers would try to qualify on those medium tires and put good times in. Now, once again, it doesn't really matter too much. Even with Luke on those mediums, he knows that he can easily jump back in there and put a soft time on the board if he needs. Anyway, that's just to give you a recap, my friend, of how the changes went for the Formula 1 2022.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong. The way it used to work was in Q2, whatever tires you set the fastest time with,
yes,
that was your race starting tire.
Yeah, and that's out the door now. You can choose any tire you want for starting a race.
Well, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not sure I like that. But you know what?
We're stuck with it. It's what it is, unfortunately. It would... Sometimes I see, I like that. The game's always going to copy what happens with real F1, right? Because that's what it is. It's assimilated from each season. But I do feel
absolutely
that they should allow, and they still already had it built into the model, they should allow the options of sometimes of leagues and players of tweaking the rules. If you say, I want to go back to the old rule for the tires, you flick a button in the lobby settings. And then you say, okay, now I can, we can have the old rule. There's no reason why. The game's still going to have the modern rules in it. I don't know. It's an option. Once again, they're not reprogramming anything. They already had it before in the previous version, so the code's still there. Phoenix goes fastest. Luke's time there, 1.9 off the pace. Luckily, so you know that for a fact that those tires are not going to be able to cut it when we get down to the business end.
No, not at all. Luke is, certainly just going out. Okay, let's see. Did the track change any between Q1, Q2?
Temperature-wise, no. 29 degrees Celsius track, 24 degrees air temperature.
I don't...
working in Fahrenheit, so, but yeah, put it this way, it's not changing in the next 5 minutes. It's still the same. Next 5 minutes, still the same. It doesn't tell you.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we're trying to evaluate desert air, which the secure track is out in the middle of a desert, essentially. So, not much going to change in the way of the weather.
Yeah.
But, it's more, okay, I'm trying to justify going out on the mediums now, because I had initially expected Q2 to be a lot of hard and medium tires being run in this set. But then you dropped a little bombshell of, yeah, you can just start on whatever tire you want, so burn up all your softs in qualifying.
Exactly, that's what I did, mate. I did bump and drop. Unfortunately, I had to drop the FIA rules and regulations of 2022 bombshell on you, and yeah, now you get it completely. Bradley starting a flying lap. Expect to see Bradley putting in those 28s, low 28s. I think you would probably start to see around this part of qualifying. Thanks for ghosting, as you could just see a spinning Mercedes, and Bradley luckily can go full speed through the side part of that car as it's ghosted. You can turn that option off in the settings. That's one of the options they do, so that cars don't ghost. That means right now Bradley would be absolutely DNF'd out of this qualifying session, out of all the qualifying session, because he would have just been murdered by that Mercedes.
Yeah, somebody would have been sent to the Shadow Realm on that one for certain. That looked pretty rough. I even kind of cringed myself. I'm like, oh no. Yeah. Kind of one of those things, you come around the turn and you see a car turn sideways and you're, oh no. This is not the T-bone I ordered.
It's debatable.
No, thank
you.
It's
not the T-bone. It's debatable. Like, I mean, there's pros and cons with it. All right, I think it should be on because it makes for real racing. However, because we're not real racing and we are esports racing, people get little disconnection issues and things like that, right? Sometimes, and so your car ghosts and things when you disconnect, or if there's, say, maybe a little bit of netcode or something like that. At least that way, if there's a ghosted car, it's not going to cause too much of a problem. Probably goes to the top of the timesheets. And that's some of the reasons to why it's better to have that ghosting on. Also, back markers as well too. So lap cars. Sometimes you see lap cars getting in the way of the front runners or something like that, causing problems and therefore destroying somebody's race. There's multiple reasons. As I said, there's pros and cons with it. Here's another one for you, Bill. This track, right, it's how sandy, of course, you're in the middle of the desert. But they use a special chemical that they spray the sand down with. It's like a glue. So it keeps it glued down so it doesn't blow up all that dust onto the track as much as what it would.
Yeah, I was going to be, kind of wondering how they managed that. Because I was going, shouldn't this turn into like a dirt track, which is something I'm a little more accustomed to, more than the F1 tracks. But,
you
this
get
is one of those things.
You'd get it in the radiator and all that sort of jazz too, but that's what they do, of course. Oil money, mate. They got all the money in the world and they can afford to spray all outside there for, I'm not sure exactly how much of a distance they do, but it's quite a bit.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of these cars racing, outside the line. Like, look right here. You're going outside the white line onto what would sand? I'm going, wait a second. You should be kicking up gravel at this point. Sand, dirtying up the tires going outside the white lines like that.
Those ones that are there are actually, they're not sand, they're paint. That's painted. It's painted to look like sand. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it won't kick it up.
Okay. Really,
so that's... Yeah, you have to really
that's
run
all
out for the sand.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're allowed, like you can see, most of the time you want to explore the track limits as much as possible. That's what they do. And you'll get penalties if you do explore it too much. And what happens is, I was just looking at Jacob there, here with P5, the fastest first sector, is you got to keep at least one of those tires inside the white line. See how close he is to the line? He's right on the bubble of it. He's got the tire. As soon as that tire crosses inside it, or all four outside the line, that is, I think, or three outside the line. I'm not sure, I'm not a driver, but that's when you get an invalidation. Your lap will not be counted. And if it's during the race, I'm going to give you a warning. Three of those warnings total, then you get a 3-second penalty slap next to your name.
So it's not quite like Mario Kart. No trying to use the feather and cut little parts of the track off there. Okay. All right. That's good to know.
Yeah, you can use the bullet in Mario Kart. Isn't it the bullet? You just zoom through everybody and take them out.
Yeah, the bullet bill will just kind of rocket yourself up to the front of the pack.
Well, look how close it is now, as you can see. We knew it was going to start getting closer. So you got a second down to Shadow. That's pretty much what it was last time. Remember, Shadow was sitting about a second off the bubble, but now Shadow can't afford to be sitting on that bubble.
Right now, we are within a second of the bubble spot here. So we're 0.973 is the bubble time right now. And I believe I got a glimpse of the timer. There's about 4 minutes left. So we should see one more go of it for pretty much everybody. Maybe not the top 3. They may stay in the pits. I think they might be fairly safe. However...
Yeah, I believe so. I think you're right on that one.
Everybody's starting from 4th place, and Jan... I think they're leaving time on the table, which... they may want to try to correct that, get one more lap out there, because if things tighten up, that 7th place time that's half a second behind, that might drop down a little bit, and that may end up being the bubble time or something reasonably close to it.
Look at Lewis at the moment. That is on a flying lap and improving on his personal best and giving a nice tow there to the McLaren that's hanging in behind there to help him out. You can use the DRS anytime you want in the qualifying session during the DRS zones. You don't have to be with the second of a car. So Lewis has improved a little bit. He has improved right there, P4. Now that's a comfortable. I would say if you're within half a second from that from Jacob's time, you're probably okay. Probably, but outside of that, you might be in trouble. As you can see, you got.
No, I think 5th place. That time for Jan Sverdlik. I'm sorry. I apologize for butchering the name. I think that is the time that's probably going to end up probably around 9th or 10th if they themselves are not able to improve, as these cars that are on the bottom side of the scoring table right now, they're already on their way back out. I think we should see a couple more seriously considering coming back out as well.
And a bit of traffic around the place, but this Williams driver of Frederick is on a flyer. You see the cars getting out of his way, making sure that he is. Jacob is retired from the session, so he's comfortable. He says, "No, I'm in the top 10. No needed to be hanging around right now. I'm warping myself into the future." Mel is in the commentary chat out there saying hi. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the top 4, probably all good. Everybody else, they're on their way back out. We've got 6th place, Luke, well, now 7th. Somebody just came across.
Frederick.
Knocked him down a peg.
Yeah, Frederick was just on board there. He just shot himself up into P5. With a comfortable time, you'd have to say. For now, but Rifler has needs to set a little bit of time. Is he crossing the line now? It's about the start.
Well, he's got another go at it. So this is going to be, probably one of the last runners coming through to start another flying lap. We got 1, 2, 3 more people coming through and into the turn 14, 15 complex to end the lap. We might have one more.
James is not going to be able to improve. He's got 62% battery. No, he can't. So that's it for James. Shadows.
Yeah, not going to get around there.
They're on Flyers. Flyers on a Shadow. Shadow's 28.477. 28.7 for his teammate. Linus behind the first sector.
Well, right now, I think Luke's going to be our last one to start a flying lap. He's just come out of turn 15 and across the line with 3 seconds to spare. So that's going to be our last runner. So everybody here, we're going to see the checker flag wave for them as they come across the line. And we'll see if they're able to improve.
Shadow goes up into P9.
Linus, unfortunately, out right now in 13th, 0.961 behind, and not even close. Half a second right now. The margin of advancement. So, 0.506 is our bubble time. So we get closer than that.
James is
and Dirty Spy is going to be on the outside looking in.
Cameron right now has probably got this the final shot, the final corner. And Cameron's been putting in some good personal best times. Will it be enough to shoot himself right up? No, P12.
Oh, not enough.
It's a good time, no doubt, because you look at that spread now. 1 second in the whole field. And you got, half a second from P1 to P10. That's how close it's getting, and we're getting to the top 10 shootout.
Yikes. Now we're, baby. That half a second, not good enough anymore.
Yeah, you're right. My bad on that one.
0.390 here is our 10th place time, and gonna be safe. No one can catch it. So Phoenix F1 gonna be advancing on in 10th place, as well as everybody atop them in the leaderboard into our shootout phase. So we will unfortunately have to wave goodbye to Shadow, Cameron, James, Rifler, and Linus.
All on the soft tyres, as said, and I expect them to use all the soft tyres again for the final top 10 shootout for the first race of the season here at the F1 Pro Tier Power Racing Simulations League. in the Kingdom of Bahrain. You gotta do the Bahrain. That.
You are far better at that than I ever may be.
I cast a lot of leagues. I used to cast this for about 3 years with the F1 and kind of got used to it. A lot more casting now for iRacing and Race Room and other sims. So they don't go to Bahrain, unfortunately. The track's not laser scanned, but it is here in Formula One, and there it is. So those drivers that you'd mentioned that we won't be seeing next part of qualifying will be the Haas there of Shadow Cameron, the Aston Martin James, Rifler, and Linus. So both the Haas out. One Merc and Aston Martin and an Alpine. So you still got them in, of course, for the teammates. So you still got Percy up there for the Mercedes, and Dirty Spy, we think it is, for the Alpine, spying in on you, Dirty Spy, and then the other Aston Martin. Well, both the Aston Martins are out, actually, because it was out in the first part of qualifying. So Red Bulls, I wonder if they can lock it out here, too.
And we got 2 Red Bulls, 2 Williams, 2 McLarens. So we'll see if we get a little bit of teamwork going into this final shootout phase. And it's going to be a little rough for the remaining 4 drivers that are going to have to go it alone without a teammate to really help things along.
Yeah, and you want to, if you can with your team, it'd be awesome to lock out a front row, isn't it? Because you got to be able to cover yourselves through those crazy S's of 1, 2, and 3, where there's plenty of overtaking opportunities into that first turn. And if you can lock out the front row, you can make it difficult for any of the teams that are behind you do it. But now this is it. So you probably expect, like similar to the real F1, 2 flying laps, 2 flying runs, let's say, from most of the teams that you'll get. So they'll get out there, they'll do their out lap, get the temperature in there, do their flying lap, come in on the in lap, go back into the garage, switch on some new sets of tires if they've got them available there, and then bang, go back out for the final time. Usually at the last across the line too, you want to try to be, because the tracks rub it in more.
Yeah, that's quite true. Going back to the point you made before, locking out that first row, anytime there's a big hairpin-like turn to start the race, there's always going to be some friendly get-togethers, shall we say, in that first turn. So being at the front of the pack, hopefully you can just kind of survive and make it through that first turn without any real incident. So that's really where I would want to be when it comes to, starting the race. Just survive that first turn.
Yeah. It does generally produce a bit of carnage. Not so much as Monza's first and second turn. That's difficult for even some of the best drivers on the planet. The fish helmet driver there of Dirty Spy, that's a very popular helmet the drivers like to use in the game. He's going to be first out in track, so he's got a clear track, perhaps. Well, that's also depending on how many cars are going to be coming out of the pit road soon. But then again, they're going to be out of his way because they realize he's on a flying lap.
Well, it looks like we've got 3 takers so far. We've got Jacob, Dirty Spy, and Phoenix coming out onto the track. We'll see if everybody else... Oh, there we go. Bradley also showing as being on an outlap. So it looks like we're trying to just stagger things around so that with 10 cars, you just kind of lay claim to, okay, this is my part of the track. Let's go.
You can see Dirty Spy right now just warming up the temperature in the tires. Full battery is ready to deploy at his right foot disposal up to 7th gear and 8th gear at your maximum gear, and the DRS will be activated in a second there and into the first corner right now. As you mentioned, let's see how he navigates it.
Pretty clean coming through turn 1. Into turn 2 we go. A little to the right, turn 3, and we're into our first major straightaway, our first DRS zone as well. So we're going to go into turn 4, now a little bit to 5, 6, 7.
And then
nice long right-hander for turn 8.
Yeah, and then you got a little bit of a short run. This is a kink in 9. And then an important back, this corner here, 10 catches you off as it tightens up right there. And you get on the power as early as possible because that's your DRS activation down this mid-straight. Straight away in the midfield and between Sector 2 and Sector 3, which is about to come up to very soon. There's another sweeping left-hand corner of 11. Just kid on the power there. Just keeps going. You kink it over to the right. You can take these things almost absolutely flat. He's in 7th gear. Then to drop down to 4th. And then the final little back straightaway. He's gone really wide there, but it hasn't been an invalidation somehow. Wow.
I'm surprised there. Well, here we go into 14, 15, and flat out to end the lap.
Invalidated just on the end of that one, which is surprising considering how wide he went. Sometimes you can get run pretty wide, but you obviously lose too much time. And the game did take, hey, lost too much time, so that is what it is.
Turn 13 there, claiming a victim. It is a little tricky because, as you said, once you come out of turn 10, that very nasty left-hander, you're pretty much flat out into a major straightaway. Gotta give a little bit off to turn 11, but you can go full on through 12 and into 13. And here we go. Our first runner across the line. We're 127.8, followed by Phoenix, 128.9.
And yep, absolutely. That's a 27 club. That's the first time we've seen that all weekend because now it's time to separate. Bradley went fastest first sector. That's just being replaced right now by Jan in the McLaren. So we'll keep an eye out on Bradley's middle sector time. Too slow, 47.8. He's made a mistake somewhere. So he's going to abandon this lap, maybe charge his battery up for another flying run or box. No, he's going to go for another flying lap. Does he have enough battery in the juice? No, he won't. He's probably going to just cool that car down and bring it in. He's still got 6 minutes and change to go. But the McLaren is flying right now on Jan. Let's see how Jan can handle the final couple of seconds. Actually, Frederick is a little bit up the road, so I'll switch to Frederick real quick because he's on up top of the timesheet. Says a 27.8 in the 27 club as well. Jan is quick. Lewis has gone faster in the first sector. It just replaced Jan's fastest first sector, but Jan could be definitely up for a provisional pole currently at the moment. He can maintain this final corner without invalidating. Yes, he does. Let's see what the time is. I suspect the 27.8. 27.8. Yep, right on it, actually. 19 thousandths of a second quicker than Jacobs.
Wow.
Let's go back to Lewis, who was really close. Flying as well. Two in the Alpha Tauri.
Yeah, we've got 300ths of a second separating first, second, and third right now. A little bit of a drop-off between the rest.
Look at that, Lewis. Purple 1, purple 2.
Oh, yeah, I see purple there.
So let's see.
Got to keep it clean here through 14 and 15. Oh, a little swirly there. Might not help getting a little bit swirly. Oh, still the fastest lap. Yep. 127.73.
With more time to find, for sure. That Bill, absolutely. If he knows there's probably little mistakes there. But this is their first flying run, as I said. They'll come back in there and they'll try to milk the clock as much as they can to get back out for the final run. What about Percy? P5. You'd have to say for your first lap, that's great, a good competitive lap that you want, because you obviously want to be on provisional pole at this point. But then that's it, mate. I don't see anybody else on a fly up, so they've done their first flyers. And now they'll come back in for a cool down, as I mentioned.
Yeah, it looks like everybody at this point is just trying to get back around, get into the pits, set on one more set of tires on, kind of, calm yourself down, go, all right, this is going to be, that last shot at it. So, it's going to be last call here soon enough, but I think we're going to have a little bit of a lull for maybe 2 minutes or so. That's when I think the flurry is going to start, and we'll see who gets the itchy trigger finger and tries to get out on the track first.
We need one of those. We need one of those bells like happy hour for the last call, like ding, 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 ding. Exactly. itchy trigger foot. I think it would be. Yeah. But the difficult part too, of course, is that when they all going to come out to try to be last across the line, is that the spacing that you have to find. Number 2. You don't want to be tucked
Yeah,
up too
very,
close to
very,
somebody.
very true. Very true. But that's why I think, my personal take on this may be a bad take, but you know what? It's my take, and I reserve the right to be wrong.
Of course you do.
I want to be, the first one out there because I know I have a clean track ahead of me. Nobody's mistake earlier on, or if there is not enough of a gap between runners and they kind of, tangle up within each other, I'm not going to get caught up in that.
That's true. But you also lose that little bit of traction sometimes of being last across the line as the track weathers up. But also, you got to remember too, Bill, that you got to, when you do come out first, by the time you're making your way around, say, some of the sectors, you've got that traffic also exiting out of the pit road. So you're going to be catching them at a flying rate. Once again, they should move out of your way because they'll be on their out laps and you're on your flying lap. But it can still throw you off, isn't it, sometimes when you're in your tunnel vision. You're focusing on your braking points on your corner and everything, and all of a sudden there's this car up the road that's just moved out of the way, but might have just distracted you for a millisecond, and we get talking milliseconds of differences here for the top 10 shootout.
Very true. Yeah, right now, I mean, we're looking at the top 4 being separated by barely more than a tenth of a second. And speaking of those, out there, it looks like we have the 2 Red Bulls and 2 Williams out on the track. It looks like I see movement. Looks like a McLaren's already out on the track, another McLaren on their way out.
Yeah, this is it. And if you don't come out now, soon, I'd expect they were coming out. There's only one more driver sitting the pit road there. I think they're all out now. Lewis is just coming out. So, yes, they're out. Finally. Hopefully that
this
Lewis
might
can
be
get
a little rough for that last racer because they are not going to have enough time to get around the track, I don't think. I think they went out a little too late, but...
well, and plus 2, yeah, this car right now, Jacob, is behind him. You see the track map, that's Lewis, that's up the road. But Lewis has got to be on the power, crank it, but also not use your battery, of course, you just want to keep it all freshly charged up. But he's going to have to yield if Jacob catches him right now, which means you lose a little bit of time, isn't it, pulling across the side of the road. So but then again, these are professionals. These are the best in the business, mate. I'm pretty sure they've timed it, and that's it for Jacob. Didn't time that corner too much. He's invalidated.
Oh, yikes.
Will he just
Gotta
save
get back
his
around.
battery? I think he'll say just should turn up his battery now and then just get ready for another one, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just see if he can get around and get another lap going. He was, I believe, the first one out, so he did give himself a little bit of a mistake buffer, and better to use it now when you might be able to get back around. Still 30 seconds left, and he's coming into turn 13, I believe, if I'm looking at the track correctly.
I think that's actually right. That's a very good point. Right, that's that. By coming out early first like that, he also has that little bit of a buffer if you make a mistake. Now, a lot of these other drivers now do not have that. You make a mistake now, that's it. You can see it's only 9 seconds left. Bradley is on a fly. I'm trying to keep an eye on those times to see if anybody's lighting up the timing tower with some...
Oh, here we go. He might not make it across the line. Nope. That's it. Yeah, somebody's got to pull in the pits. They're done. Unfortunately,
that was Jacob.
Yeah.
So if Jacob couldn't make it in time, nobody else can.
Yeah, no shot. Unfortunate for Jacob, but it looks like going to lock himself into third on the grid as the best he can do right now. We'll see what we got as everybody comes back around and sets a time.
Frederick can't. He's already crossed the line. I want to see about Bradley. Now, I'm looking at the timing on the timing software that I have. Everybody's on a 28.3s, give or take, for that first sector. Timing towers are a little delayed, but Bradley goes to the top of the timesheets. So that's pretty much the quickest time all weekend, you'd have to say. I want to keep an eye on some of these other drivers. They've got Phoenix and Dirty Spy. Phoenix should be coming around soon. You got the McLaren up the road of Jan. Yeah, we'll go to Jan first, because Jan might take this one. He set up a middle sector. Oh, his first sector was on. No, he's... Here we go. No, I thought he's abandoned. Bang, P2. That's close. Further back, there's Phoenix. And what about Dirty Spy? It goes up into P6. We still have Percy
And
invalidated.
I see an invalidated lap there.
And
Unfortunate.
Lewis can't do anything as well. So that's it. Bradley got it done.
All right, so that looks like it's it. Yeah, Bradley. What do we got there? 127.6? 6 and change, I believe.
6 and change, yeah. Sorry, that purple is a little hard to read sometimes, and you're
yeah, a little rough. Yeah,
you're reading from my screen that I'm sharing as well too. So
yeah, that's all right. You know,
doing a great
do
job,
what you
mate.
got to do. You know.
Yeah, doing a great job. That's all good. Are you, from the States? Are you an IndyCar, NASCAR fan? I'm just to say that because it's stereotypical, isn't it?
I am out of major racing. I'm more of a Formula One fan than I am Indy or NASCAR. You know, all told. So I'm kind of in my element here, but I am kind of more of a local dirt track racer.
Oh, that's right. You said that. You want to read through those results for us there, Will, for our starting 10. 20. You got.
Yeah, absolutely. We got
20 seconds.
Williams returned to glory. It's the mid 90s all over again. Bradley Leonard's taking the pole. 127.698. Our best time so far in qualifying. And we got Jan in the McLaren. Oh, I got 5 seconds here to rattle this all off.
They're all good, mate.
We got Lewis Piper in the AlphaTauri. Oh, and away they go. My God. That's going to be our top 3.
They shortened it up. That's okay. We'll have a formation lap in a minute as we're getting into the race so that we can go back over that. And we can also see what tyres that they're going to elect to start on now, because the teams are they going to talk to each other and say, hey, you start on a medium, I'll start on a hard, or vice versa, because if they bunch up, of course, if you have safety cars, you're going to have to peel in the pit lane. You don't want to double stack too much. Let us know in the chat, you guys, if you are friends of the drivers or engineering any of the drivers or any of that jazz. You can give us some of that juicy information in the stream.
Now, if I had to take a guess, I'm going to say probably the top 8 all start medium, because they can't afford to start on a hard tire and lose the track position to anybody on a medium straight away.
Yeah,
on the other hand,
right. You need a bit of traction, don't you? But yeah, on the other hand, tires will wear quicker.
Yeah, you know, you might go medium hard, and if you have to, back out on the medium. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to see a 2-stop race with the hard tires coming into play, but I think it's within the realm of possibility. You start on the medium, try to go 15 laps, maybe a little more, get the meat of the race done on the hard, and if you can give it a shot, you know, or maybe you're in, you know, the bottom, you know, parts of the top 10, have a go at it with a run at the fastest lap. And I just caught a bit of that predictor there that said medium, hard as a potential tire strategy.
That prediction, unfortunately, if he is now, it's actually not. It's more correct to the real F1 than it is to the simulated esports version of it. We have 50% race too, rather than 100, thankfully, because I'm not a real fan of 100% races. It gets to that lie down zone sometimes when you get, you know, such spreads in the field that it's just like the real F1. Sometimes, you know, you just like, okay, you got 30 laps of not a lot of action happening, but 50% races are brilliant, I'd say, for entertainment, especially around this track as well. I kind of wish that real F1 would just do like 2 50% races or something like that, just to keep it more fun than just you know, either the 100% races or those sprint race weekends that they have. It is just entertaining. If you have to sit there and there's nothing happening for 20 minutes in a race, then to me something needs to be fixed. But then again, strategy is all about those 100% races. This time around, you can see there's only 3 of those drivers out there electing to do those mediums, mate. Everybody else is electing to go those hard tires.
Well, I'm actually surprised at seeing so many hard tires with start here. Dirty Spy seems to have been given something of a gift if he can, maneuver himself through maybe a couple of these racers. Going into turn one, this could be a very good opening stint for him. Although, he may only be able to get, about 10, 11 laps. I figure 12 laps is about what you're going to get on that medium tire. Oh, boy.
Yeah, they're going to be ghosting as they
X-ray vision there on the cars.
It'll do that so you don't crash into each other. Otherwise, it would be a mess doing that. Same in the pit road as well, too. They don't have control specifically on the cars so much. That's a disqualification for two cars that have hit each other before they've got to the grid, so they're going to be starting on cold tyres, my friend. You get ready to call this race. The first race of the season here for Power F1.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're looking for a set of red lights. Let's see. The back of the field is set. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights are on. And here we go. The lights are off. The track is open for business. Bradley on pole being overtaken by Jan in the McLaren going into turn one. We'll see who else is able to make a run. We got our, oh boy, that's a little bit of a stack up there. Jan making it through, and it looks like Phoenix leaving the session. So a little bit of a yikes there, losing 6 positions off the start. Oh, I see somebody going into the wall there. That's going to bring out a yellow.
It might bring out a full safety car. They call it in a minute. Yes, it is. Full safety car has been deployed already, and that we can't see that accident, unfortunately, because there's no car to pass. But that something obviously had occurred there.
It looked like I caught a glimpse of an Alfa Romeo going off to the Shadow Realm there. And it looks like Wilkes, unfortunately, going to be out in 19th. So his day is unfortunately done.
Yeah, just having a look to see if any of these cars have any damage on them at the back of the field here. That kind of gives you an indication if there was contact. I'm scrolling through them at the moment. Some of those end plates are looking okay-ish. They might be damaged a little bit. Sometimes you can't see it visually. It'll still be there, but they might have little lime damage on it. We'll see if anybody's going to jump first. There's your position gainers and losers. So Future did well, gaining 5 positions. Phoenix, unfortunately, it looks like Phoenix had disconnection issues because it said it was going. Shadow getting 4, and Bradley now just getting that place back after losing it to Jan. Go those tires. And, of course, if you're on the hard tyres, you wouldn't really want to be boxing just yet. But we'll see if anybody in those mediums are going to run and get... No. You barely started a race, haven't you? So those tyres are still pretty new.
Yeah, I can't see why I would want to go into pit. I mean, if you're on the hards, you want to get, at least, probably, 20 laps in. So that way you can go the rest of the way on the mediums, where I think you get 12 laps roughly on the medium tire, so you can put your foot down and lay into those medium tires, and they should hold up. And it looks like the field has caught the pace car here, the safety car. Have to be
hey, call it a pace
Formula
car,
1 correct.
Car. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, they will go around another lap. I don't expect it to be peeled in just yet, but we'll see. And while we have a second, I'm just going to quickly grab a drink, my friend. And I still got another sector or so if you need one real quick. Bonjour out there to Qatar in the chat. Welcome.
Well, we'll see if the safety car does come in. Usually it'll turn its lights off to indicate that it's ready to pull into the pits. With a 50% race, we may see maybe 1 lap of safety car, where a full race we might see maybe 3 or so, roughly speaking. But right now, it's going to be, the great mystery as we come out of turn 13 with the lead of the pack here. The safety car, will it pull off and let the racers race, or will we have another run around?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think let's have a look. I didn't get a message about safety car in this lap. No, we're going to one more lap around.
All right, so we will have one more lap around. All right, yeah, safety car going to stay out there. So another guided tour of the secure
Bahrain. Bahrain. Because it's the Mercedes AMG safety car. They have two. They have two safety cars and they have two medical cars that they take to each of the tracks. And if you ever see about the sophisticated equipment and all that that's on board, just check out one of those videos on YouTube. It's quite interesting, all the gear that they've packed in the back of this safety car you're seeing here right now. The whole trunk is just full of electric gizmos, mate, just to have all the tracking, all the information that they give to the stewards, of course, back up into race control. They have screens inside there as well, too, so that the other driver, Bernard's the one that drives it, but the other co-driver in there has all the screens, so he's the one that's on the radio right now. Bernard doesn't talk to anybody. His co-driver is the one that will tell him stuff, but he's just focusing, because remember, he's still driving that car pretty quickly. It's not a Formula 1 car, but he is a race driver for many, many years, and has to be aware of safety stuff like that as well. But his teammate, I was going to say the other passenger in the car there, would be on the race control right now, making sure, hey, are we staying out? And if they're also trying to spot debris on the track himself as well, to see if there's anything dangerous that necessarily the pictures don't show you. And then all that data has been fed back, as well as, the slipping in the tires. It's got traction control and all that in the car. I'm not sure if they actually, that's one thing to check, whether they actually do have the traction control turned on or not for the safety car, because I would imagine you probably would have it turned off. That way he can get a feel for the track as well, too, for the conditions when it's wet, and when it rains, how slippery it is, because they got to get that feedback. But he will be peeling in this time around. And if you get a chance on YouTube, check it out. Same with the medical car too. They'll give you a whole relapse of all the gears and gizmos that are inside it. Very technical. One you'd want to have in your garage for sure. And again, I'd take the Aston Martin safety car over it, but beggars can't be choosers when you got these beasts. But one at the moment has to hold off a flying Bradley to keep his lead of the race from P2 up into P1. Here we go on the loud pedal.
Yeah, here we go. The race is going to restart. Oh, wow. Bradley getting a beautiful run. Might even be able to... gets in front. We'll see if they can hold it through. All right, yeah, that's pretty clean pass. Bradley into the lead.
Oh, no, that's...
Uh-oh.
Who was that? That's... I can't even go back to that one at the moment. They were coming back on the track.
Oh, that must have been Jacob getting bumped out of there. He was... pretty well up there, but it looks like everybody's still going. I don't see a full course yellow. Somebody definitely tried to find a hidden path on through to the rest of the racetrack and not finding it.
It's like Shadow got a twirly-whirly coming out of the corner. We saw the other battle there between Future and Phoenix and James. That's a heated up little battle, but here's Lewis. I think, Shadow got a little twirly-whirly coming out of the corner and lost a bit of momentum, and that's bringing Lewis into play here. Hard tyres. Remember, Shadow's on those mediums, so we expect to have a little bit more grip and traction on it, but keep it with inside the line, and there's 15 going around, 16. That is the Mercedes, the McLaren, having a bit of a spinner.
Yeah, one thing to point out here, there were runners that actually went into the pits. I believe Cameron showing on 0 laps, so I think they went into the pits right when the safety car went in as well. Reifler went into the pits and caught back up to the field and has now made their way back up to 12th.
You're absolutely correct on that one. They have.
And it looks like somebody's in the pits right now. Lewis Piper.
I think he might have got damage if he gone in that early. Something's gone wrong. And there's definitely some fierce fighting on track, as you could see, and probably easy to lose a little bit of end plate there, a bit of damage to your car. That may be what has happened. Especially, we saw 2 cars, remember, having a bit of a collision just before, so no doubt one of them was involved there where they got some damage that you mentioned. Hopefully get that fixed, because you need downforce this track, mate. It's a lot of high-speed sectors, as you can see with the DRS as well. Won't be activated just yet, the DRS. You'll have to wait a couple more laps because we had the safety car. Back up the further field here, but Bradley got it done, didn't he, into turn 1 after the safety car. back up to where he started the race on. Cameron and Dirty there at the background are trying to hang into those mediums and stretch them out. But you'd think that they'd want to be using these mediums as soon as possible to try to get past the front runners.
That's what you'd hope for with those medium tires, is you're looking to establish that track position, and then really it's a matter of, all right, am I going to go once out with the medium, or am I going to go back out on the medium and try to go medium, medium, hard? The strategy will come into play here, because with the mediums, you're going, okay, I need to get ahead early and kind of hold on for dear life with the hards, as opposed to the runners that are on the hard.
It's future. Right there, made a mistake.
Yeah, somebody brought out a quick yellow. I caught a glimpse of it, and we got a sector 3 yellow, so it looks like a little bit of a tangle up, and somebody's back into the pit.
Frederick completely stopped on track. It might have been a disconnection or something. That car was just completely planted in the middle of that, luckily for ghosting. And whether he's still there or not, no, he's back. He's on that front wing. Look, absolutely damaged.
Oh, well, there's the problem.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it looks like Lewis Piper has tapped out. So that's our second DNF of the race.
And another safety car has been deployed. As Mark says, let's go Williams. Well, Bradley has an opportunity now to think about the pit road again. Or not, because now we're coming around to lap 6. Now, you remember too, we've only had, what would you have to say, mate? Feel like 2 real laps of full green flag racing so far. The rest of it's been under safety car.
Oh, let's see. We got lap 1. The caution happened on lap 2 to lap 4. So we got 3.5 laps. Let's say 3.5. I want to be a little bit of an optimist here.
These are the medium runners coming in now, mate. I probably expected the mediums to take advantage of that safety car. The hard runners should stay out, unless they have damage, of course, which we don't 100% sure each of the cars if they do. You can see that
we know one of them's got damage.
Yeah, front wing change here too for Percy. Jacob, we know, has got a lot of front wing changes for those hard runners. So they'll switch over to the medium, so you have to use one tyre compound. They could do doubles, hards to hards and mediums and jazz like that. Frederick, we know, had to have full front wing change for the other Williams driver.
Anybody switching off of the hard tires right now, I think, I don't like it, because I would have wanted to get much further into the race with that hard tire. But we see these laps of caution. That does make the medium tire a little more appealing, because that's less of the race. We're basically a quarter of the way through, 7 laps already in the books of 29 scheduled laps.
Yes. And the position gainers and losers there. But just to let you know, the reason why I'm on Rifle currently at the moment is because he's taken that pit stop early on lap 2. So now he's only done 4 laps on these medium tyres he's currently on, which really, he's only probably done 2 racing conditions on those medium tyres. Started in P14. In P6, you'd have to say it's not looking too bad, considering he's made that pit stop. He's going to have to, I don't know, stretching those mediums to the very end would be something, but it's
no shot. No
shot. So looking at boxing again, I'd say maybe praying for another safety car later on.
I think a lot of the runners, even right now, you're looking at 22 laps. You might, and that's a big might, be able to get to the end of the race on the hard tires right now. So somebody like Shadow and Dirty Spy in 10th and 11th right now.
That's right. Yeah, I think they could, no doubt. Yeah, you're right. And especially as well, if you have a virtual safety car or another full safety car, then no doubt. But if you get a late safety car, they're going to probably want to switch onto some faster tyre compounds and get some overtaking done as well. That's something you tend to see. You might even see drivers electing to go to those softs late towards the race if we do get another safety car. So far, I say we've had two out of 3 for safety cars. 3's probably looking good, because And that's safety cars breed safety cars, don't they? Because they're all bunched up again, mate. And you see what happens when you get wheel-to-wheel racing. Somebody goes pointing in the wrong direction or in the fence.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, turn one isn't really going to help much when you bunch everybody back up. And then turn one kind of happens. Turn one into turn two. You try to go to the inside of turn one. Everybody's going to come back on you as you're trying to stay on the line in turn two, and that's definitely a bottle up zone there for sure. And I'm hoping to see a little notification that our safety car is going to be in this lap. We'll see if it comes up. It should be coming up soon if our safety car is coming in.
Usually that little trigger point, if you can see on the map, it's very hard to see, but the trigger point between Sector 2 and Sector 3 that's coming up about now. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so we will be going green once we come back around, and we'll see if Jan can pull a Bradley and, overtake coming into turn one, getting a little bit of a run. So Bradley, they're letting the safety car get out in front. I guess no rule about having to stay within a certain distance.
Sorry, Bradley will have a delta to stick to as the race leader. So it'll say, okay, you got to stick to this delta and don't exceed it too much, and then that'll be removed in a second. Now as soon as he gets this message to go, he's going to want to plan it. And look how close Jan's trying to do what Max Verstappen used to try, but bang, Bradley's off. Let's see if they can handle that turn one, as you said. A very good launch, you'd have to say. Further back is probably where the action is. It looks like a run from Phoenix. And it's Phoenix and Carlos.
Yeah, let's see if they can stay clean through. It looks like, we see another yellow coming out. Look like maybe a little bit of contact there. I don't see anybody getting...
back. I don't want to see there's 5 or 6 cars going in one corner here, mate. This is going to be a hold on tight.
Oh, yikes!
Unbelievable action. Every action has an equal reaction. Let's see if those cars can stop in time. Good racing. Oof. Nerve-wracking.
Wow, we're going 4 wide here.
Oh, unbelievable. I think somebody's going to be going around in a minute.
Wow, this looks like my my drive into work. Yeah. Oh, McLaren going really wide there.
You don't see this too often, but this is a Power F1, the Pro Series. They kind of know each other with the racing. You're racing on the bubble.
Yeah, it looks like Cameron is a little behind the pack here, already 5 seconds behind. So maybe if we could pan back there, see if we're still fully assembled there. Didn't lose a wing or anything like that.
I'm seeing this battle at the moment. That's with Future and the Haas Shadow. You got Briz just in the background, Percy. They are a line astern. No DRS activated just yet. Somebody's peeling the pit lane, so that's probably some damage for the Haas. Look at the run behind them. Side by side in the turn one. We'll keep looking over the rear there of Future's car, and he's not going to do something about that car, but what about behind?
Ooh, this is so tense. You got so close to each other. This is beautiful. And that they're able to keep it clean for the most part is just, a spectacular thing to see here. And it does look like Shadow, unfortunately, picked up some damage into the pits. So, gonna hope for, gonna need another safety car to kind of get back in touch with the rest of the pack. And they went out on mediums. Ooh, I don't know about that. At this point, I just go for the hards and try to survive to the rest of the race.
It's a pace that you're going to try to get there, and fast laps and all sorts of jazz. But looked like Jacob there was making a bit of a run. He's got Linus behind him. Still, this battle is preserving for P12, the future Briz, and there's also the Ferrari. There's the DRS train currently at the moment, which I'll get that DRS activated soon enough. Haven't probably used too much of that DRS button so far in this race. 1/3 of the way through, there's a DRS activation.
Yeah, there we go. This is the first time DRS has been enabled, and we're on starting lap 11. So we'll start to see some passing, hopefully, as we start to see those rear wing flaps open up.
There's one right on cue for you, mate. Maybe.
Yeah, there it is, right on the inside. We'll see. No switchback to just a good clean pass there from the Aston Martin, getting overtaken by, I want to say Force India, but it's not Force India anymore.
Right. So in the old school days. Let's have it's not that old school anymore, but 10 laps between these drivers, remember, so they're on a little bit more worn rubber. The Ferrari driver, and there's his teammate, well, a junior teammate. Look at that. He's actually tapped him a little bit and had to lift off, otherwise he would have forced him around to a spin. So good driving there from Magnet. Maybe he was magneting with the magnet attraction, isn't it, mate? North and South Pole, perhaps? Wait, I tried to come up with a pun there. Couldn't quite get it right. What about Percy? I thought you called him Percy from now on. I don't think he's Travis again. Mind or not. He's going to get the DRS activation there from Frederick soon. Who's going to hit the DRS activation from Rifler and Dirty Spy. So that's all the DRS trained behind Linus. I just realised something here at the moment too. I didn't realise we're actually cross-play. You got two of those drivers on a PlayStation. The rest are on PC.
Oh, what
I just noticed that for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, there are two PlayStation logos there, aren't there?
Yeah, I didn't know. Luke is retired from the session. He might have got too much damage there for the McLaren because he's retiring in the pit lane, which is what you're supposed to do, obviously, if you want to retire the kind way and not if you're not DNF'd into the wall.
Yeah.
Rifler going for it too. I just want to see if anything evolves here. All right, and Luke is retired. That was a retirement from the McLaren.
Now, I have a little bit of a speculative question for you here. Are the random mishaps, like an engine blowing, things like that, are those turned on, or is this all...
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
I would like it. But then again, you have the luxury of the esports sims. Well, I mean, because you can do that in like iRacing and stuff like that. You can damage your car by over revving it, sort of jazz, but not in the Formula 1 cars. Fortunately.
Okay, just wanted to kind of throw that out there. It's like, okay.
Oh, good question. Yeah.
Did something, just kind of randomly happen to Luke Locklear where, the gearbox decides to, just, okay, well, you have a selection of neutral, and neutral. So, yeah, good luck with that.
Further upfield, the other McLaren that is running. Yes, there is. I didn't quite check. I'd probably check, but the damage model. You have a full sim damage model, and then you've got standard and reduced and things like that. The full sim damage model means you can get rear wing damage, you get side pod damage, and all the parts of the car that you can't fix in the pit lane. Unfortunately, so if there is something like that, or floor damage in the car becomes undrivable, some of the drivers might like to retire it on that one, but I don't know if it's full sim damage. It might be. It's a Pro Series. Somebody in the chat can let us know about that one. Because if that's the case, that'll be the reason why they're retiring. Because you got rear wing damage or side pod damage. It's too slow and it can't be fixed. Front wings, of course, as you know, do get fixed quite often, but not too much else for the rest. And unfortunately, your virtual pit crew don't get the duct tape out there and try to tape it all up like they do in the real world.
Yeah, that I haven't seen any tires go flying.
Wheel jacks getting stuck and stuff like that.
No,
I would like that. Yeah. I would like that actually for the game. I think they added this. You see, I'm not a driver, but I think you have to try to hit your pit box perfectly, and you can save yourself a little bit of time off there. You could overshoot it. I'm not 100% sure on that.
If we're bringing pit teams into this, I would rue being on Ferrari.
Poor Ferrari. They make a couple of mistakes in 1 year and they're held forever at it. Oh, well.
Yeah.
All they have to do this year is just get it perfect as Jacob and James are going for it, 2 for now. Red Bull and Mercedes. When's the last time you heard that?
Oh, let's see. Pretty much. Oh, Shadow being a naughty boy. 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, but it's going to be all for naught.
He's retired
Shadow
from the session
pulling
anyway.
into retiring.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter about that 5-second penalty right now. Another one that could have had potential damage in the car that we haven't visually seen that has elected enough as enough. It's the first race of the season, so everybody's 0 on the scoreboard. I say, always say you got to you would bring it home if you can, because so far we're down to 15 cars and we've had a couple of safety cars. You never know what's going to happen. You could be back in this one in no time and back into the points. So you wouldn't want to retire just yet. It's halfway through the race. But unless, of course, they had too much damage and maybe some problem or something with their wheel, the actual technical equipment. And remember, you are driving on the in the virtual sim here. You can have problems. Your controller might disconnect and pedals might break or go loose or something. That does happen quite often to the drivers. We'll see.
Very true.
Yeah, little brother comes in and pulls the cable out and giggles at you and runs away. Stuff like that.
I may have had some unfortunate encounters of the animal kind.
Your pets jump up on you. That's right. That's something else that happens. As Jacob's still trying to fire away past James. As Jacob's got the better boots. Remember now, as James is still on the original boots that they started the race on, 14 laps. And they're starting to get to their wear. You'd say Carlos is doing a pretty good job on those oldest medium tyres currently at the moment on the field. 14 laps on them. Still,
I'm actually surprised they're holding up for so long. I would, think those tires are just about cooked. So we'll see if they start to fall back on, Phoenix and James Taylor, who look to be, still a little bit of a gap behind. The two of them might be fighting amongst themselves and not really moving up to, challenge Carlos. So
I've got some tire data for you that I could tell you.
Okay.
Now, 54% on the rears for Carlos currently at the moment. And
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, you get 60s. Young goes in from the hard tires. Interesting, trying a different strategy cut. I was just about to say the DNFs had 0 laps on their tires, so no one pitted. This is what's in the chat right now currently. And then I saw the game was bugged because Shadow had 4, I think.
Well, he went into the pits, and it looked like he did a pit stop, and then just said, nope. Because his car did go back out onto the track and then parked it right around turn 2, so I think it was under computer control.
Yeah, under computer control. Well, if you box in the pit lane, it will take the car back out, but it won't be in control, and it will park itself, and it won't cause a safety car. Generally, does not cause a safety car. There are bugs in this game, different things that happen in different scenarios. But generally, it's the rule of thumb for 99% of the leagues out there that race this Formula 1 game. That you do a pit lane retirement, and the rest of it's out of your control. If the AI does something silly, that's not your fault. You did according to the rules. There's nowhere else to park, you see, because if you pull the car to the side of the road, even right next to what you would do in real life, right next to one of those little orange markers where they can pull the car in safely, the computer can trigger you for a safety car, and then other drivers will get upset that you can cause a safety car deliberately.
Yeah, that is true. I would think it causes, like a local yellow, but in the sector...
It should, in theory, but unfortunately the game doesn't know that too well. And, they're not programming that as well. So they're trying to program the game to be very entertaining for the career modes and that sort of stuff. They're not spending hours, and it's a small team too, development team at Cody's, for the working on the multiplayer. So they're not doing it, but look at this, working on an overtake there from Jacob on James. So he's been around Jet right there. There's a bit of argy-bargy, but James had to force the lift off at the moment, and Jacob making use of those fresher tyres, per se, and getting himself up into P2 currently at the moment, behind his teammate, Red Bull 1-2.
Yeah, so right now, Red Bull running 1-2, but they are on those medium tires. And they are almost certainly going to have to pit one more time. James Taylor might technically be, leader of the pack right now. Those hard tires might be able to get 12 more laps in and get to the end of the race, but I'm kind of doing a little math here, and I'm going,
Well, in the chat, this is what Kata out there say. G'day, Kata. This is what I was asking you guys in the chat to please engage for us and help us out here. Because we're not drivers ourselves, and I haven't been casting a lot of the F1, unfortunately, recently to know. He was saying that those, from yesterday, it was in one of the series, the mediums could do green with 14 laps. And 17 laps for Carlos currently at the moment. I'll tell you what, James Taylor's going in. Carlos's tyres are 64% front. Rear left, that's the one that takes a little bit more punishment. 64%. Fronts are about 55. He's got to come in soon. For sure. He's risking it for the biscuit at that point.
The mediums are on for James Taylor, pitting in from third. So he's going to take the mediums the rest of the way. I can't see Carlos going, 10 more laps on mediums at this point. And it just, those things have got to be done. He may be trying to get as much as he can out of them.
Is Bradley and Jan, just so to cut you off there, remember they were leading the race, and they've taken their pit stops. So let's have a look at that. They are 19 seconds off the race leader. Now, the pit stops around here are going to cost you about 24 seconds. So they're definitely going to be back out into the net lead of this race. It's going to be, see where Carlos is going to be at the moment. So where Carlos slots back out, it's going to be timed hopefully around between P9 and P10. That's what he's going to be thinking about too. So how much time is he losing per lap? Well, maybe a little bit. These guys are now starting lap 131s. He's lapping 132s. It's still pretty good time, but you got to think how much more time can you do? And of course, on those tires that are starting to chew through, well, it's easy to go spinnerooing as well. Make a mistake.
Don't discount Dirty Spy. He's got 10, now 11 laps on those hard tires. So I think he might be able to take them the distance. We've got Magnetic, now he's near the back of the pack. He did have a little trouble early on. 17 laps on the hards. He did pit early on to switch over. I believe he was one of the early pitters in the lap 2 incident. We've got
and look how quick the Bradley and Yana are catching, of course, the Alfa Romeo in P5 that's got on a little bit more worn tires. You see, that's going to help Bradley get a DRS to her now. So Jan's chances of getting past Bradley is a little bit more difficult, but it's also holding Bradley up a little bit. They are for track position, so don't have to give it up. Brizzy's not putting too much of a fight on a different strategy. Will allow Jan to go through on by. Yes, he will. So no sportsmanship there, even though, once again, they don't have to. He is not a lap down or anything. He doesn't get shown blue flags. But I think he's just wise enough to go, look, I'm on a different strategy, guys. I'll let you battle. Do your own thing, and then maybe I'll come back into play later on. But this is the battle, once again, provisionally for the lead of the race, because we do know those other drivers have to box. Not have to, but we do know that Carlos has to box. He's the only one left apart from Magnetic in P13 that have to box. You could be right about Dirty Spy there, making those tires go to the end. And the problem is he's going to get this pressure from this crew right now, because Bradley and Jan, they're lapping 130, low 131s now, and 132.54 was the last lap there from Dirty Spy. So at some point they're going to inevitably be catching him quickly.
Oh, well, there we go. We see a fastest lap, 131.2. From our 6th place runner right now in the McLaren, Jan.
He wants to get past Bradley. Look, he really wants to get past Bradley. Get the DRS activation. I think right now it will be taking candy from a Bradley because of that DRS. I don't think Bradley's going to be able to do too much about it just yet. And again, Bradley's going to fight. We'll have the inside line. Sorry about that, Bradley. You have held him off. Good job.
Ooh.
For now.
Oh, these two are going to go at it. They're both on, relatively fresh medium tires, 3 and 4 laps respectively. So
Yeah,
this is going to be a fight.
This is the net lead of the race currently in a moment because we still know we think those other drivers at the box, but we know that they're going to catch Dirty Spy anyway very soon. 8 seconds to change down the road, and they're shaving about 1.5 seconds off him per lap. Oh, then again, that's still a bit of time. I think they'll be able to do it, but yeah, what about the other ones holding out? Now, Frederick can, Jacob could. Yeah, you got 13 laps. Yeah, they could do it. Because if you've got Carlos up there doing 19 laps, then yes, definitely. Jacob and Frederick, and so there's Carlos going in finally. Now, Carlos should be able to go to the softs. He does. He's the only one that could gamble to go to the softs because it's a sprint right now for 8 laps. And see, he's going to come back out. But I think he's going to come back out. Let me have a look at that little track map.
Well, Frederick went in as well. So,
oh, wow.
This is actually pretty favorable for Carlos. Going to be out in Phoenix, 6th, maybe 7th.
Yeah, Carlos has come back out 6th, yeah, because a couple of the other drivers are boxed. Well, they just gets out ahead of Phoenix. Hopefully, going to get the temperature of those tyres, otherwise Phoenix is going to take him back. It's going to cost him a little bit of time. They're going to have a side-by-side drag through here. You got to keep your foot pedal to the metal right now there, Carlos, but Phoenix does sneak through. So now Carlos is like, damn, that's going to cost him a little bit of time. I think he wanted to clear him. Interesting. Also, Frederick went in for those tyres. But let's look at that battle that's still brewing, of course, between Bradley and Jan that are now in P3 and P4. But they got 7 seconds to Dirty Spy. Is that going to be enough time? Has Dirty Spy and Jacob have done the perfect strategy?
Uh-oh. Oh, naughty boy here. Carlos, 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings.
Yeah, because he's trying to get around James there, and I think he's going to off-track excursions there too much. And sometimes you can get them removed, but that's why you have 3 warnings. So that's one for the stewards later on. If you have to, usually if you go right off the track there to avoid an accident or something, those can be removed. But what about the other 2? Because you've had 2 warnings before the 3rd one. To get those removed sometimes is difficult. Anyway, that's one for the stewards later on. I want to see this battle brewing because these drivers at the moment, mate, they are clearly quicker, Bradley and Young, than the leaders. But they're battling each other, which means they're not trying to put those banker laps in that they probably would like to. And it will be helping Jacob and Dirty Spy out.
Yeah, that was exactly what I wanted to bring up, is that 2 cars that are fighting against each other are going to end up going slower than 2 cars that just kind of tuck in beneath each other and just kind of stay out of each other's way and just go.
And Jacob should have a little bit of knowledge there from his team to say, look, Carlos took those tyres to uncharted territory for Pirelli, and what did he do on just trying to look through the telemetry. 20 laps. So Jacob knows, hey, I got 5 more laps in these medium tires. He's got to stick it out now, right? He's got to probably stay off the curbs a little bit. Just doesn't necessarily have to put banker laps in. He's doing a 32.3 race leader. Dirty Spy is doing a 32.4, but we know Dirty Spy's tires are going to be a little bit better towards the end. These guys that are racing right now on the 31.3, so they are a second a lap quicker. Problem is, time is not on their side because you got 6 seconds to catch Dirty Spy.
Uh-oh, something happened. Looks like
Alfa Romeo's going a little slow. That's future. I think he's back on track in the sector 2. Yeah, I think Jacob could be safe if he can nurse his tyres to the end. Dirty Spy, towards the end of this race, is probably going to come under a bit of pressure from these 2 races that you're seeing.
Well, you've got one runner on 16 laps on a medium tire that's probably, very close to just being at the end of their lifespan. Can you get them to 22 laps? Ooh, that's going to be a tough ask. Dirty Spy, on the other hand, I think he's just trying to keep his nose clean, just stay the course.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting a hard tire to 22 laps is not a tough ask here,
No way. I think Dirty Spy's okay, but the problem is his pressure is from that pack of Bradley behind. But then again, it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to overtake, as you know. Lars of the Red Hot Chili says Bradley needs to close a second, a gap to catch. They are doing it, Lars. They are doing a second a lap quicker. Problem is...
Yeah, Bradley and Jan
the time is not
stopped fighting with each other. They just kind of tucked in
Oh,
behind each
three-way
other,
battle here
and
as
now
well, too,
they're
mate.
going.
Look at this. Well, that's because you got Carlos in the mix there with those fresh boots. I think you have a back marker in play. No, you don't. You got Persley, and you have Briz, and they're all behind James. So there's your four-way battle, my friend. That's because Brizzy's tyres are a little bit more
Ooh,
worn.
somebody a little bit of trouble coming out of turn 10.
It's the Ferrari of Magnetic, I think. Yeah, gets back on here. But look at this battle. Look at the track map, mate. They're all making their way around the final corner. Now they're going to have a couple of DRSs. And a couple, of course.
And it looks like we've got a passing attempt. It looked like Yan and Bradley going at it again. I think Yan finally got the better of Bradley and has taken third.
You're right. Unfortunately, all these drivers have to do their overtakes at the same time. We only have one camera. Briz is
round
around.
and round we go.
And further back, I want to see this other battle still brewing. Of course. Guys, choreograph your overtakes, please, for the cameraman out there so we can capture all the action at once. Let's see. It's not going to bring out a safety car, thankfully. It's just a local yellow. You probably have to damage and get back into this one. But 24 of 29, and this is still helping out Dirty Spy, because it's only 5.3. Only 5.3 they've got to catch in a handful of laps. Jacob, I think, yeah, Jacob won't have a problem. You got to also remember, mate, that they... You know, we know that 20 laps were done, right, from Carlos, but that's 20 laps with a heavy fuel load. Remember, when you have a lot of fuel load, you're taking a lot less punishment on those tires, so you can stretch them further.
Still, this is going to be 23 laps that we're putting on, if I do my math right. 17 plus 5. 22 laps on those medium tires. Oh, yikes. Going to be driving around on the rims almost once we get to lap 28, 29.
And wow, get this. As this battle's resuming again, the DRS action, here we go. Yard and Bradley are 2 for now. They want to... I thought they were going to be winning this one, but they're not. They're just battling out for a podium currently at the moment. That's what it is. Because Dirty Spy started in P6, currently in P2. Jacob started in P4, currently in P1. But just to give you that, Dirty Spy's last lap was a 31.8. A last lap there from John was a 31.7. It was only 1/10. They're only 1/10 faster.
Yeah, I was going to say that gap did not move that last lap. It's, staying right around 5 seconds. So Jacob and Dirty Spy seem to be off in their own little...
Jacob's last lap, unfortunately, was a 33.2, because once again, he is now nursing those tires, and that's clever. As an engineer, you'd be telling him, take it easy, take it easy, take it. You want to be finishing the race right now. So see that, and as long as he's only losing a little bit of time to Dirty Spy, but I think Dirty Spy might have just cranked it up at the moment and said, look, I'm going for it. I know that his tires are going to be punished towards the end, so I'm just going to go. Plus, it'll help me maintain this lead to this battle that you're watching between these two drivers for P3. That's a lot.
Dirty Spy maybe waited 1 or 2 laps too late to really turn on the jets there and say, all right, I've got tires that'll last me to the end of the race. Let me just, send it and see what comes of it.
Risk it for the biscuit, as we like to say.
Absolutely.
You got to risk it for some first points in the season. Remember, everybody's on 0, so it's even Stevens for every one of those drivers. And only, fortunately, at the moment, 15 drivers remaining as Magnetic and Brizzy get past each other down that main straight. I'll keep this action up here, mid-straight. Fortunately, 4 of those drivers can't pick up any points. And there's 10 of them inside the points-paying positions, if that's correct. I didn't check that before. Didn't do my homework, unfortunately.
Yeah, I believe
Dirty Spy's pulling that gap
was,
down, but I'd say Dirty Spy's now. He could also remember been saving some of that ERS for a few laps to charge up that battery to make a run, knowing that Jacob's going to be really punished at the end, as Lars said, 80% of the tire wear is puncture territory. Just to give you some quick information if I go away. Oh yes, Jacob's on 76% rears, guys. With 3 laps to go, he's going to have to get out and buy those tires a flour, take them out for a dinner if they can get home on this one. He's definitely in a little bit of puncher territory. Will be in puncher territory towards the end. That's why Dirty Spy has to get on the power right now and put the pressure on.
Oh, we got a little trouble in between turn 1 and turn 2. Ferrari and it looked like Magnetic and Prison having a little meeting there. I think
They were
Magnetic
before.
getting the better of it.
Yeah, they were before, aren't they? Running a P40 and P15, having a bit of a fun time. I like to see him still racing at the end of the race, but here's the battle still brewing here. Carlos got to try and take advantage of those soft tyres, but James Taylor's going to be denying, has been denying for some time. They've been going at it too for now. Percy's just up the road. Are the Mercs going to work together to stop that Red Bull? Toto Wolff, down to you. And no, there is definitely contact there. Hopefully they do the right thing, even though they're not teammates, but just kind of like, all right, my bad or whatever. You can see that they didn't really go. They're going for it. Oh, Jacob has had a spin because of those tyres.
Oh, no.
We knew that they were cooked,
those tyres
but
just kind of gave out.
They're blowing. It's 70-something% on the rear. I can't see if that's a puncher.
Well, can you take a look real quick, see if we got anything left there? But, man,
no, he's
unfortunate.
78% rear right. I can't see a puncher, but look at that. He can't even get any. They're overheated right now. You can cook a kangaroo barbecue dinner on those tyres. Look at him struggling. Look at it. It's got nothing.
Well,
it looks like a puncher. It's hard to see.
Oh, that or just the tires are just done for. Unfortunately, a little bit of a spin cycle going there. Able to right it straight away, but those tires just.
The tire doesn't even have a yellow line on it anymore. As everybody's zooming.
Yeah, they're just done.
He's got a couple more corners. Got to get in the pit lane, throw some soft tires on, and now he can't even get the fastest lap anymore. He's outside the top 10. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, this is just that sometimes you roll the dice, and for Jacob, unfortunately, those medium tires, 20 laps in, just crapped out on him.
You're gonna see. I was going to say a three-way run into turn one here between 6, 7, and 8 places.
Now it should be, just a nice Sunday drive for Dirty Spy here to bring it on in. But we got 2 laps left and about 2.5 seconds separating first and second. Jan and Bradley probably still trying to go at it for position. And unfortunately, all that fighting between the two of them, could have maybe been used a little more productively to overtake Dirty Spy.
Yeah, but they're not teammates, are they? So they're not going to be communicating to say, let's work together, guys. And Carlos gets twirly willy coming out of the corner. Maybe he's burnt through some of these soft tires. He has actually. They're about 62% right now for those soft tire runners. So maybe they're going to get a little bit of a memo and say, look what happened before with Jacob, guys. So nurse those tires, otherwise you're spinning around the wrong direction. The points are not going to be available for you. But go back to this battle between Bradley and Young, because we know that they are on similar tires, which are getting about the 60 mark, and they know that they're battling it out for the second step of the podium. And here's a run from Bradley.
Yeah, here we go. They're going to have another go at it, and it looks like they see that first place car, Dirty Spy, 2 seconds up the road. But we're running out of time here.
But Dirty Spy's tires are about 80% rears, mate. So he's got to slow down now on the final lap, and then hopefully doesn't slow down too much to give him a DRS. You can see the time tumbling too for now, like a Bitcoin exchange.
Yeah, that definitely looks like my crypto wallet. It's going down and down and down.
But he's got to hold on. I'd like to see Dirty Spy do it because he took that gamble. Why not? It's worth the risk. You risk it for the biscuit. We saw Jacob try it. Didn't quite pan out. But
he's through 2 DRS zones at this point. Just one more detection zone that he's got to avoid that DRS. But we'll see. He should be able to hold on. But this section's all flat out. So, if he can get out of 13 clean and into that straight, then it's just, oh boy.
He's going to have to hold on for sure for one more corner. I think he can do it because you're not going to get the DRS activation now until almost you're crossing the line. And as much as Bradley's going to push like mad and won, but he's not going to be able to do it because Dirty Spy's going to be able to do it. He's going to cross the line. He's going to win the first race of the season with the gamble. 23 lap tires over Bradley, finishing as a P2, and Jan in P3. You go right back into Phoenix, but great driving there. The rest of the drivers, Percy's actually really put a bit of pressure right here for the final time as well. In the final corner, drag race across the line. Will he get it? No. Frederick will just edge that one out to take P6.
Yeah, now, we do have a couple runners with penalties, so we'll see where that puts them in the overall scoring.
It's balanced out already, mate. As soon as they cross the line, it pushes them down to the position they should
Okay.
be. So you don't have to worry about your math at that point then, thankfully.
Well, now it's, maybe the race stewards take a look and go, all right, yeah, that penalty shouldn't have been applied.
Oh, yes,
So,
yes. Yeah, that's
that is,
a few days for the
something
stewards.
to consider.
Yeah, you're right.
So, that may affect a points paying situation here because we do have, from 8th to 10th, we've got, less than 3 seconds total there. So that could vault somebody that ends up in 11th with that penalty, all the way up to 8th.
You're going to be a fun person with the stewarding team later on, mate. We have to go through the hours and hours and hours of footage that'll be submitted to them, but if they're submitted by the teams, so they have to review. James Taylor gets the driver of the day because James started in P13, finishes in P5. Good job, but you can't take it away, really, from this man, can you? I mean, the dirty. He drove a clean race, didn't he? He drove a clean race. He gambled with it. So did Jacob, and that's one for the chat out there. Was it worth Jacob? Nice dance too. He's been rehearsing that one. First place. Well done. But do you think, that's one for the chat, Jacob did eventually get the fastest lap towards the end, but unfortunately P13. But I'll get to this question. I'm trying to get to the question. Do you think it was worthwhile for Jacob to take that gamble? That's for you guys out there in the chat, knowing that, those tyres were right on the bubble. 21 laps he had to do on those mediums where they cooked on him. That's the question.
Well, hindsight being 2020, and I think I called it out, earlier in the race where I thought Jacob needed to go into the pits, earlier, probably around, lap 20 or so. But you know what? Yeah. You took a shot. It unfortunately didn't work out for you. It's one of those live and learn kind of things where okay, this is what I can and can't do. And unfortunately,
results, yeah, go through them real
for
quick.
Jacob, didn't quite work out. And we did see he did recover for that fastest lap. So he definitely had the speed, but unfortunately the strategy, oh, yikes.
We're going to hear from some of the drivers now. There's a couple of DNFs there from Shadow. Only 4 of those DNF Shadows, Luke, Lewis, and Lucas. And everybody else getting a finish, which is great. But on top of it, as you mentioned, we'll get some driver interviews coming up in a second. We'll have a short little breather. Just put you on the commentator screen there for a second, but take a breather. We'll let the drivers have a bit of a breather, and we'll be back in just a moment for hopefully some interviews.
All right, we are back. We have a couple of our runners ready to jump in here and face the music, so to say, as we get the hot spotlight on them. And we have Bradley, John, and Jacob, who have graciously jumped into the line of fire. So, Biggles, who do you want to bring in first?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think we'll go to Jacob because he's risking it for the biscuit there, and then we'll bring in the other two guys that finished second and third. So let's speak to Jacob about that. Well, Jacob,
ask,
yeah, go ahead.
and ye shall ask, and ye shall receive. So we have Jacob with us, in the lead for most of the race, but unfortunately losing it with a few laps left.
Yeah, it wasn't the best race, unfortunately. The qualifying didn't go as planned, as I got a little bit of an oversteer moment at the exit of turn 4, and I couldn't make the line for the last attempt. But yeah, I lost the lead with my tire blowing up, and it just wasn't meant to be.
You pushed it. I think they were close to the 90s at the end there.
Yeah.
You were taking. It seemed to me you're taking easy because you're pulling 132 laps or something like that comfortably. You were still maintaining that lead to Dirty Spy that was behind you, and then he started pushing it a little bit more towards the end. But yeah, well, it was kind of fingers crossed for you, hoping if you could just hold on enough. And did the tire actually blow up? It didn't because I couldn't see it on the pictures, but it was definitely not happy.
Yeah, the right rear tire just gave up at the end with 2 laps to go. Unfortunately, I knew it was a really weird gamble, but I knew I didn't have anything to lose. It's a first race, I knew I could have been on pole today. It was mine to lose, and I unfortunately with a collision with Percy Jelly at I think lap 3 or lap 4 when the first safety car ended. I just knew it was just going downhill from there, so I had nothing to lose.
Yeah, it was worth the risk, of course, because it also happened to Dirty Spy because his tires towards the even end, the hard started to really fall off the cliff, and he was lucky that they did the two drivers that we speak to soon, Bradley and Young, didn't have an extra lap to go, otherwise he would have lost that win. But back to you, yeah. So Pirelli testing 101, mate. You did 21 laps on those tires. I tell you what, because there was another driver, if I'm not mistaken, that was Carlos. Good to remember, Carlos had done 20 laps on those tires at the start of the race on a heavier fuel load, and he I guess he got away. I guess that one extra lap was just that difference, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yeah, it wasn't the best today. I actually thought I did less laps on those mediums.
My telemetry's telling me 21, mate. So yeah.
It might be actually true, yeah. I was thinking I was gonna do after the safety car restart 20 laps, but apparently I already did like 3 more. So yeah, I'm still happy to be fair because I can see that Bradley isn't unbeatable, as I did have 4 tenths in my lap on Q3. I know in race pace I was faster at least throughout the most of the stints, or the most important parts. So,
yeah, you were. No, you were putting some fantastic laps in. And, of course, good to see right at the end there, even though you had to drop to P13 out of it, but you did steal the fastest lap away from somebody else, which is good. So you're denying them that point, and you got that, shows your race pace, 129.6, a blisteringly quick best lap. Nobody else even got into the 30 range, in the 29 range at all, but fresh boots make all the difference.
They do make a lot of difference. Also, I think I might have snatched the overtaking award for the season already in the first race. I don't know if you noticed, but in the second safety car restart, I gained 7 positions or even 8 positions in 3 corners.
Oh no, we didn't catch that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of action, but that's fantastic. Absolutely.
So yeah, that might be one of the clips to watch out for and look out for, because I'm pretty happy with my basically racecraft and race pace. So I'm gonna say one thing to Bradley: look out for me, as I'm just gonna get better and better, hopefully.
I like it. There you go, growing up already. Thank you very much, mate. We'll let you go. Good job, good gamble. Didn't pay off, but you had fun, and that's the main thing. And once again, you might get that overtaking award. So see you in the next race.
Good to hear you, Biggles, as well.
Oh, thank you, mate. Can't guarantee I'm always going to be here, but when I can, I can. All right. So let's. Thanks, Jacob. Let's bring in. I think we can. Well, let's bring in both so that we can talk to one at a time, but then they can listen to each other as well too. Because you couldn't separate these two drivers, could you?
No, they were pretty much attached at the hip ever since about the halfway point. Well, actually, even from the restart, they just happened to be, right on top of each other and trading places throughout, the latter stages of the race. So, yeah, let's bring in Bradley and Jan. So here we go. Our second place finisher, Bradley, who was on the pole originally, and right behind him in second on the grid and third in the finish is Jan Sverdlik.
Yeah, but we're going to bring both of you in here because we're just mentioning before that you're basically not separated, joined at the hip really for most of the race. So we figured you will get a chance to talk one at a time, but you listen to each other. Who would you like to ask first there, Bill? Like, I mean, Bradley's the one that finished on pole and finished in P2, and then Jan. I don't know.
Yeah, let's go to Bradley first. How did it feel with taking the pole there in our debut race of the league?
Yeah, it was a very good feeling. The lap was actually not really good, but I made it work. In Q1 and Q2 I was actually lacking pace because I made a very stupid last minute setup change for the race. So in Q1 and Q2 I was just really struggling with the car, but in Q3 I managed to get it all together and just take pole ahead of Jan, of how you call his name, twice by.
Yeah, Jan, your qualifying performance was very close as well, and you got Bradley into turn one, and then you're exchanging Christmas cards all over again. How was your race?
Yeah.
Is it Jan? Just real quick, am I pronouncing it correctly? Before?
Yeah. It's Jan.
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
You can try my surname, bro.
No, I'm not even attempting that.
No, thank you on that one.
Starts of all time is for me terrible, but lucky for me, Bradley has worst start what I see ever. So I got him into turn one, and I believe I can do my best for all the race.
And you did, and you guys were a couple of times, once again, changing some positions. The only thing that was a little maybe a little worrying towards the end there was I think you got 2 warnings. Bradley had 1. And of course, that close battling means that you got off that off-track excursion and you would have had to say goodbye to that potential P2 or P3 position that you end up getting. But it was also between you guys, and this is a question to both of you. You were Dirty Spy's tires were, I think they're about 80% or so. His hard tires towards the end, so he was maintaining good laps up until about the last couple of laps, and all of a sudden you guys started slicing into it. Was there a chance that you thought, well, you might actually have a race win here?
Me first?
Yeah, because I guess you finished in P2. You would have had to be the one overtaking him.
First. Let's start with the beginning with the start. I actually didn't manage to get the tires up to temperature. So at this moment I released the clutch. I just didn't get off the line. So he had a decent launch. So he got me in turn one. But luckily I managed to get him back at the safety car, which I nailed to do at the restart. But we had some really nice battling. He tried the undercut on me, which I just about managed to cover by a really good in lap. I think he also got some traffic, so that definitely helped. But towards the end we were like battling, but I was like looking at the names above of my name in the leaderboard, and I saw like 2 guys ahead of me, like with 15 seconds, and I was like, did I miss something here? I was so surprised how 2 people just got such a massive gap while we were like driving mega pace always. So I think they got a massive advantage doing the safety car. I'm not sure actually how they got such an advantage, but I had a really good time.
Yeah, absolutely entertaining.
If you don't mind me asking a bit of a follow-up, you did stop twice during the race?
Once they did. Sorry, mate. They only stopped one time.
They only stopped once.
Yeah,
Okay.
16 laps Bradley did on the hard tires and 15 that Jan did before they switched over to the
Oh,
mediums.
okay. All right. So you both stopped in the second caution. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot.
just-
Trust me, guys. There's a lot of action on track all around there. That's why it's a little confusing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just trying to remember how I was like, wait a second, how did they get behind? And it was okay. They stopped on the second rotation through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then after
I
that, go ahead.
I was extra confused with Jacob because I saw him dying at like lap 2 with the other car in my mirrors. So I was like surprised when he was like 15 seconds ahead of us. I thought they were yet to make a pit stop, but they didn't. So yeah.
Yeah. Dirty Spy. He boxed on lap 6, and then Jacob also boxed on lap 6 from those hard tires, and then they pushed those mediums and hards like mad.
Yeah,
to the end.
that's incredible.
So that was worth the gamble, as they said. I haven't spoken to Dirty Spy, but we did speak to Jacob before, and he said that at that point it was worth the risk. You know what I mean? If it held out for another lap or so, it might have been okay. You certainly would have been up the rear pipe of him pretty quickly, no doubt. That would have been great. But both of you were racing there. Cost you a bit of time too, I'd have to say, because you guys were going neck and neck at it, and Dirty Spy was constantly kind of maintaining your pace that you guys were doing.
Yeah, I was especially battling him because I thought they were yet to make a pit stop. I didn't expect them to finish the race on that compound. So, like 6 laps before the end, I was like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna make a pit stop. So maybe just drive a bit quicker.
Yeah, it was a little bit confusing for me too.
Well, now you know. Sometimes their strategies work brilliantly and not with the safety car. Any follow-up questions you want to have there, Bill? Or we let them have a lay down?
Yeah, I think the only thing I really want to ask about that I think a lot that we're watching may want to ask about as well. Was there ever a point where the two of you kind of just thought, okay, let's kind of cooperate instead of fighting over position, try to run down Dirty Spy first and then fight over the position of first place?
Wow. Yeah.
Actually,
As I said, I actually didn't. I didn't think of that because I didn't expect them to finish the race on the compound. So I thought we were just feed the battle and they will just make a pit stop and we would be ahead. But yeah, they didn't. So yeah.
And plus, they're in different teams too, Bill. Don't so team orders at play. They always wanted to try to beat each other, which they were very close at doing. Somebody had to come out a victor. Well, thankfully, one of them did. Otherwise, both of you guys could have been in the fence and it could have been game over. But it was certainly very, very entertaining. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to have to end it up this one. Good luck in Spain next week. Spain with the S or without the S? It could be pain.
I love Spain.
You love Spain. All right. And Jan? Do you like Spain?
Good for you. I hate Spain, actually.
All right. Okay. No tappers for you then. Hopefully you can tap your way up to a race, a win. By the way, congratulations, Bubbly Stuff. Podiums, yours first race. Good to get a podium. Points on the board.
Thanks both of you for commentating the race and streaming it. Really nice to watch back later.
Thank you. All right,
Yeah,
any
absolutely.
final words there, Bill?
I think my final words are thank you both for stepping into the spotlight and allowing us to have a glimpse as to what you guys were thinking, especially halfway through the race and beyond into the strategy decisions. Good job on second and third. You know what? Why not? Let's throw it out there. Are we disappointed in any way of the second and third place finish, respectively?
Yeah, really disappointed because I actually drove the shit out of myself. I couldn't go like any quicker. So yeah, disappointed I didn't cut P1.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what can I say, bro.
Well, on the
So
19th of
disappointing.
January, you'll have your round 2 opportunities at Spain. So good to see that battling resume. Good work. Thank you very much, guys. All the drivers out there, everybody in the chat as well. Thank you very much for providing us the information. And of course, all the drivers that sported their way through the field to 3 qualifying sessions. And then the race, our first race of the season, is done and dusted in the desert of Bahrain. And the pain of Spain is on its way for the next round. I've been Nadine Biggles and Bill, your surname, sorry, we got to put that up real quick there.
Yes, Bill Walter.
Bill Walter. Thank you very much, Bill, for being in the casting box. Mate, we can fly our way back over the pond, back to the US of A, to the Americas, I mean. Thank you, everybody. Take care, stay safe, and have a good evening.